Good morning, everybody. I'm just going to make a quick tutorial on how to restring your Stratocaster, specifically if it has vintage style tuners. I prefer the look of these, but I also find that they're very easy to use, and they just make the whole setup look clean because the holes in the middle actually hide the ends of the strings after you cut them. So I love that, and let's just get right into it. So first things first, before you restring your guitar, you definitely want to have to take the time to get your guitar set up if need be. Mine's already set up, but if you need to polish your frets or oil your fretboard and make that come to life again, it'd be a good time to clean your guitar since the strings are off. Just do that kind of stuff before you put the strings back on. That always helps. All right, so you're going to need a couple things to pull this job off. You're going to need a string winder of any kind. This one's kind of nice. The Ernie ball, it just kind of slides on its own. You'll need a tuner of some kind, some string cutters, a set of strings, obviously. I'm going with these Mayer ones. I've never tried them before. Figured I'd give it a shot. Any type of cleaner or something if you end up going the cleaner out. I think the custom solder stuff is amazing. So, yeah. All right. So typically, how this works, if this is your first time setting up a guitar or restringing it, pretty much how this works is the higher number is going to be your thicker string, right? And it works its way down. So kind of think of it as if you're viewing the neck from your point of view. This would be the top string, your A, your D, G, B, and E. So just remember the higher the number, the thicker the gauge. That would be your low E, so your bass. So just think bass, mid, high. So to start this process, in the back here, you have your trim springs and your bridge. So this is your block, as they call it. They each have these little holes here, right? So that's what you'll be stringing your string through. But back here on the back of your Strat, there'll be a cover plate. I tend to leave mine off. It's just ease of access, but you can put it back on. But chances are you'll have to take it off when you put your new strings on. So first things first, you'll have to get your string and run it through like so. Run it all the way through. Now on the other side here, you have these things called saddles, right? So in the middle of your saddle are these holes. So you'll pull that through. We'll bring this back around. Okay. All right, so you're going to want to have to pull your string really hard, right? Not super, super hard, but you're going to want to pull on it, okay? And then what I do is I measure. So we're obviously restringing it here. I measure 2 tuners up from that. So we'll be cutting it right here, okay? So what I do is I grab that. I cut it just a little past, like so. Grab your string, pull it, and then put it in your tuner. What I tend to do is kind of keep these, I'll get these straight, put it in the middle hole like so, like that. And then what I do is I wrap it around like so. I hold the pressure and then I just start winding. And that's really all there is to it. This process is slightly different with regular tuners. However, all that is you gotta, there's all different ways to do it. If you want to try and lock your strings and such, but that make sure it fits in the nut. And I just kind of leave it like that. You don't want to over tighten it, obviously. So just kind of make sure they're kind of loose and such. That way you can go and tune them. And then you just follow that process for each one. So we'll come back and we'll get the other ones restrung. So we're back on the A string now. So what we'll want to do is we'll want to cut it. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3. So we'll cut it right here. There we go. Grab it, put it in the hole. That's what she said. And then you just wind the bugger. It's a very, 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 very simple process. And after you do this about, I don't know, 2 or 3 times, you tend to get it pretty quick. There really isn't much to it. Like I said, these classic tuners are great because they just lock things in place. you don't have any nasty string ends or whatever. Loosen that up. Cool. All right, come back on the next string. All right, so now we're on our D string. So pretty much we'll want to cut right here, right? Because one, 1, 2, since we're putting it in here. So just remember that 2 tuner rule. That seems to help me out a lot. Just like so. Grab the string. Align it. Like that. Insert it. Wrap it around like that. Maintain pressure. And just start winding. Like I said, it's a very, very, very easy process. One thing you want to remember too is not to get the strings laying on top of each other, because that can create buzz, and it might have some tuning stability issues. There we go. So like the previous ones, this is your G string. So you'll want to do it. That's what we're putting it in, 1, 2. So we'll cut it just past here. Like that. All right. So put it right in the hole. Hands are kind of slick from that lemon oil. Okay. Insert it in, get it as far as you can in there. Wrap it down, get it down as far down as you can. Just like I said, maintain that pressure. Wind it up. If you guys can, definitely try and find this Ernie Ball string winder. It's great. It really does most of the work for you. They even make automatic ones too, so they're more like a drill or something almost. There you go. Go to the next one. All right, so for this one, this is where it kind of starts to get slightly tricky, all right? So you got your string tree here. That's what that's called. Now, some of these have 2 of them. That could be a guide for these 2 strings, but most of the time you usually have one for the B and E. So anyways, right here, this is kind of where it gets tricky, because you're going to have to guess pretty much where that other tuning peg is. You don't need to use a measuring tool or anything like that, but pretty much you can guess if you're kind of just like, it's almost as wide as my index, right? So if I went 1, 2, so we're putting it here, right? 1, 2. So we'll want to cut it like just at the end of the headstock. Just like so. Should be plenty. Okay, stick it into the hole on the tuner. Around like that. Start winding. Now, as this gets tight, we'll want to have to tuck it under the string tree, right? Because that's what that's for. It's to hold that in place. So just keep winding. There we go. I feel like getting tighter. So now at this point, as it's starting to get tight, you see it's pushing against my finger there. We can tuck it under the string tree and just keep winding. Like I said, you don't want these to be super, super tight, because we'll stretch them after we wind them. So there you go. Okie doke. Okay, so we're on to our high E string. It's the last string. So like I said, just kind of guesstimate where that last tuner peg is. So we'll just, 1, 2. So we'll cut it about here, just be on the safe side. All right, so align it, stick it in the hole of the tuner. Try to make sure it's in all the way. Wrap that around the edge. Now, typically with strings, you kind of want them to face away from you when you're wrapping them. So usually you don't have them wrapping to the right. It's usually to the left. You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is all the strings should be on the opposite side of the tuner. So there you go. Just kind of let that go. It kind of falls into place, and then the string tree grabs it. Looks like it's caught on something. Loosen that up. Looks like it got on the side of my neck here. Pop that up. Put it in the nut. Tighten it again. There we go. All right, so the actual string process is done now. So this is kind of last second things to do before we start playing it. All right, so some things you can do is you can start by stretching them like this. I tend to kind of just put my fingers underneath and kind of pull on them a little bit. You know, obviously don't want to go too hard, especially with the thinner strings, because you could risk snapping them. But this is just a good way to get them kind of stretched out in a way. You know, naturally they'll start stretching as you're playing them, right? But this is kind of a good way just to flex them out. Already popped out of the nut there. So one other good trick that I watched off a video a while back. So Reen Martinez, who is Stevie Ray's guitar tech, he actually said that one way he got tuning stability is by doing this with the strings. Let me try and zoom in here. So here you have your bridge, right? So what he did was he said that if you went down and kind of pushed at the end of the strings here and just kind of pushed down and held it, right? Did that with each string. What this does is it really helps kind of mold the end of the string to the rounder part of the saddle here, right? So it helps kind of keep its shape. And I personally have found that this actually does kind of help. I don't know if it's just a placebo or what, but I do this every time I string my guitars, and I rarely ever have mine go out of tune. It does seem to help, but I don't know. You might want to give it a shot and just see how you like it. But it's just something to kind of try out when you're doing your next string change or something. So just kind of I go through and push down on them quite a few times, like so. And yeah. All right, guys. Well, I was hoping this would be a quicker video, but I wanted to just show the whole process. That's pretty much all there is to it. There's really nothing to do. You can continue stretching them out or such, but now you just want to bring them to tune, and we'll do that real quick. All right, guys. Well, my tuner died on me while I was changing my tuning my strings up. So just get those tuned up. The Fender app actually has a free tuner on there, which works really great. They have different tuning modes on there, so just give that a shot. But typically, when you tune your guitar, you want it sitting on your lap. How can I see if I can film this? Typically, when you tune your guitar, you want it sideways, like you're playing it. So tune it up like that, and then if you find that it falls out of tune, just keep tuning it up and maybe stretching the strings a little bit, because eventually it'll start to hold it. But that's how you do that. So hopefully this video helped you out a little bit. You know, after you do all that, you can put your trim arm back in if your guitar has it. So I hope you enjoyed, and hopefully this got to the point for you. So please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll try to post more stuff like this. So alrighty, take care.